So, back to part number two of davidandkachidawson.org for May and the beginning of June. Some church news um, regarding the search for a new rental for our church. Let's get our sound back going on. Oh, where'd it go? There we go. Yes, let's have some classical music in the background. Regarding our search for a new rental for our church, we're back to square one. I like this music here. The building that we're trying to get for the past month didn't really work out. The owners didn't really want to give us a long-term lease. The day we got the bad news about that, we decided to go back to the first place that we really wanted and try again. The place we really wanted is the one you can see these pictures here. You probably saw them earlier in the beginning of the year when we were trying to get this place. This building is much better in every way than the one we were trying to get, or even the last building we had. I put some photos here, but it's also quite a bit more expensive. Quite a bit more expensive. Our leadership has been praying, and we feel like we're supposed to make an offer. And even though the best offer we can make is still beyond our budget, but we feel like we're supposed to trust the Lord and do that. So we're in the process of doing that. If we're hearing God, please pray that we will persevere. And if not, please pray, please, that God will shut the door. So that we don't get ourselves into a huge financial mess. Also, church ministry. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about something that's just been on my heart. Missional thinking. You know, I've often lamented that communicating about our ministry programs here, such as church meetings, leadership schools, itinerant speaking, etc., sometimes gives such a boring picture of what me and Kachi do here in ministry. As a result of my studies at Fuller, I've been inspired by the quote-unquote missional church movement, which is an effort to focus on engaging the society rather than drawing people to church meetings. I want to give you a quote from an author named Scott Cormode. He says, quote, "The vast majority of God's labor in the world happens through the endeavors of lay people outside the church walls. Yet most of our energy is focused on what happens within the church." Unquote. I agree with that. The big challenge for pastors is that our ministry. Now here we have him quoting again. That our ministry is to equip the people of God to engage in the mission of God outside the church. I want to repeat that. Our ministry is to equip the people of God to engage in the mission of God outside the church. But we are to do it by using the time that we have with those people when they are at church or engaged in churchly activities. I think that's an interesting quote by Cormode. Back to our little, ministry news. Instead of sending pictures of what our meetings are like, which we always do, every month I'd like to highlight how God is using some of the people that Kachi and I are mentoring. How these people are impacting our society here in Curitiba, Brazil. I'm gonna give a little profile. There's so much more I could talk about missional. I'm gonna be talking about that pretty much every month from now on, I think. But there's a little link in the text of this post if you want to check out. A cool Foursquare church made a video about missional ministry and life, and so if you want to check that out. So first, I want to give a profile of Kachi. Here's my lovely wife. Kachi's ministry is sometimes hard to describe. Basically, she serves people inside and outside our church community who are attracted to her friendship. Kachi is just the kind of person who, wherever we go, she notices things. She notices if someone's lost. She notices if someone drops their keys. You know, um, she notices things, and she's always, engaging, and I feel like, hey, everyone should just mind their own business. But thank God that Kachi is very different from me. Um, and the past couple weeks, for example, Kachi has had people over at her house preparing for a baby shower, doing a photo shoot for a pregnant couple who's going to have a baby. She's always just helping people with different events and things and parties, and um, she's much more relational than I am. Um, I get upset at her sometimes when she asks me to answer the phone because I know it's always for her. Um, it's usually someone who needs her help with something, and whether it's a practical matter or someone asking for advice, Kachi's informal ministry, which is what my dad would call, from the hippie days, my dad always calls Kachi an earth mother, and I think that's true. Her ministry as an earth mother is constantly happening at our house or wherever we go. Sometimes I get frustrated when we go out because Kachi's always running into people she knows, and whenever they see her, they want to tell her about something that's happened in their life, usually some problem, and you know I'm really bad about at this kind of ministry on the way. I like to have things planned out in advance, have a predictable start and finish time, and that's why God gave me Kachi, to bring some sugar into this sourpuss's life and ministry. And so, even that said, though, even Kachi does get stressed out sometimes. She just says, "Hey, let's now just have some recharging time." So, another missional profile that I'd like to include this month is this couple named Andre and Miriam. Andre is Brazilian, and Miriam is from Spain. They are about to have their first child in July. They're part of our church, and they also work on our leadership development school staff with YWAM. And both Miriam and Andre support themselves by teaching, and in this way, this is how they engage in society, through their teaching. Andre teaches jujitsu, and recently he was telling me all about how he was able to share with the men that he teaches about sexual purity. And Medium is she is a YWAMer, and she serves at a local YWAM base, and also is right now organizing an outreach to prostitutes during the World Cup. And she pioneered a similar ministry years ago in Spain with YWAM. And I just wanted to briefly mention this couple. This couple is an example of the kind of people Kachi and I serve as missional mentors. These are the people who really, in their day-to-day work, that's really where the ministry is happening, as we encourage them, and much more than our church meetings. So that's our little ministry news from davidandkachi.org. Thank you very much for listening. Bye bye.